Happy New Year! New Year's Day 2025, and I'm out here in the shop with the Connex 500 trying to get this leak addressed. Finish cleaning up all this material. Let me show you what I have. Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design. Last night, I managed to get this area cleaned up. I took all these components, took all the screws out so that I could get underneath them and clean out the material that had leached underneath everything and got it pretty cleaned up. The one issue is there's this reservoir here, and it apparently collects material that drips from... I don't know how that's supposed to be used, but it looks like this is kind of leaky in here and it's collecting the leakage. But I was looking at it and I'm like, there's no way to drain that. How do I drain that? And then I realized when I was in here cleaning yesterday that there is a tube that goes up underneath the center of it, and this tube loops around. And all it is a dead-ended tube with a cap on it. So that looks like if you took that cap off of there and you brought it down lower than the reservoir, it would run out from that reservoir there, provided that the machine is level. So what I want to do is today, I want to get all the rest of this material cleaned up down here. You see if I can get that finished. In order to get this all cleaned up in here, I decided to take this side frame off because there was material that had leaked down from the top and it had gotten in between this panel and that panel, and the same on the back. I took the screws out and I could not remove that part. It was trapped between the piece in the back that goes across the back of the printer and the trim piece that goes across the front. You see there's the end of the side one that's got a couple of slots in it. And here's the piece that came out from the front. And the only thing I did, the screws that hold it down were missing. They weren't even there. It was loose. And all I had to do is lift that up and pull it out. And then that whole panel came out along with the little door that goes over the cardboard box that has the little plastic box inside of it to collect all the scrap materials. That's the tube that comes out from the pump motors on the other side here, and that's where all the scrap materials go. And then that cardboard box needs to be replaced. So anyway, that's where I'm at. And then I realized I don't have enough room here to take that trim panel on the back side. I can't get that off until I move the printer forward, but I don't have enough room to move the printer forward with the desk in the way, because then that door will be closed and I can't get in there to clean it. So what I'm going to do is clean this whole thing up here in the front first so I can close the doors. It'll all be clean. Now I can move the printer forward, take the big back panel off the back, and then the trim panel on the bottom. And that big panel in the back looks exactly the same as this one here that's already off. I've already got it disconnected because I've been working on this printer. So that's what I have to do. I got to move that machine, clean the front first, then move the machine forward so I can get to the back, and then that way I can clean out the whole back side. I want to separate those panels. You see where the material has leaked down. You see it, the run where it got between the panels, and I don't want that dripping on the floor. So I got to clean that whole thing out and get rid of all that material. Well, the more I get into it, the more problems I find. Isn't that always the case? Let me show you. As I was cleaning things out in front here, I was looking, how did all the material get down here in this area? Where the heck did it come from? It was on the edge of the lip where it says support there, and it was down here on the bottom. And I'm like, where's it coming from? So I got looking up underneath here, and right in there on the top of this little box that holds the support material cartridge was a whole bunch of material. And I thought, oh my God, where the heck is that coming from? So I got looking in here on the other side, and what it ends up being is this area in here is directly over it, and there's of course screw holes, some of which don't have screws in it, and everything that was up here was leaking through there. So that gave it access to everything underneath this side, and it's like, oh my God, that's where all that material was coming from. So I got all this down here cleaned out. I got it cleaned out, but what I really want to do, what I really want to be able to do, two things. One, you can see there's material up underneath the edge of this little fixture, this little assembly here, and I want to take the screws out back there and get this whole thing out of there. Now, I'm a little bit leery about it because, let me get back on the other side. You'll notice here, inside this box on the back, that's whatever's mounted on there is mounted to that frame that's on the back. And there's electrical connections going to it. And I believe it has something to do with scanning the chips that are in the cartridges, because that's where the, well, it's not really an EEPROM chip. It looks something different. I don't know exactly what it is. Later on, I'll show it, and then if somebody knows, they can tell us. But anyway, I want to get these two fixtures, these two boxes out of here that hold the cartridges. There's the screws right there. So I have to take this panel off the front in order to get to the second set of screws for this side, because it's behind that panel. Now that's a good thing in a way, because I was looking at taking that panel off so that I would be able to look inside underneath the build platform. The build platform is right up, you can't see it, but it's right up there in that area. It's inside, well, I got the lid closed so you can't see it. But I want to get in here and see what this looks like in here and clean that out if it needs it. So the deeper I get into it, the more I find that I want to take apart. But other than that, the machine is in really, really nice shape. So I'm really pleased with it. I just have to get it all cleaned up and get all the material out of there and get it straightened out and make sure nothing's wrong. And then we'll be good to go with it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to attempt to do, is to get that panel off the front, get the metal boxes that hold the support material. I want to get those two out of there so I can clean those up, and then see what else I might find. Pretty soon I'm going to have a box of screws and a bunch of metal panels, and I'm not going to remember how to put it all back together. That's why I take pictures and videos along the way as I'm doing this, because I have something to go back, some documentation to look. How the heck was this put together, right? Good thing to do. Okay, back at it. Well, I'm getting there, little by little. Parts are coming out, things are getting cleaned. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I have the two support frames out that hold the cartridges. You see there were just screws coming in from the top. Not easy, because it's right up against this other panel, and so you can only turn the Allen wrench a half turn at a time, so it's a little tedious to get it out of there. Also, there's electrical connections you can see on there, and boy, I could not get those electrical connections off. They are on there really tight, and they're thin and flimsy. And wait, let me get the light here. They're thin and flimsy, and so I'm a little concerned with damaging them to get them off. See, what I'd like to do is get those electrical connectors off of there so I can take this off of there. This is the feed line that brings the material from the canister in there up into the machine. It pumps the material up. And look at, see all the material on top of there that leaked down? That's all coming from up underneath. There, can I see it? There, all the screw holes. See all the screw holes with the little bit of whitish color in them, that's all the material leaking through from up here on this side, through all the screw holes. So I have to, I'd like to take this unit out of here so I can clean it up really good and put it back in there. But boy, those electrical connections, they're the push-on ones, little tiny flimsy wires, and they're really on there tight. I'm like, geez, that's not so good. And then there's one other electrical connection that goes to this thing here. I don't know what this little unit is that sits on top of there, but there's electrical connection to it. So it's doing something. What it is, I don't know. I'm guessing it may have something to do with the weight of the cartridge and how much material is left, but I don't know that for sure. It's I don't know if they go by weight or what, but there's something in there that's being measured or of something of that nature. Anyway, so I'll see if I can get these things apart so I can get this can out of there and clean it all up real good. You see there's a drip from up above still dripping off the wires. So it's getting closer, but still I got more to do, and it's tedious. It takes time to do everything. Wipe it up and then see what else I need to do. Oh, let me show you that too. I pulled that panel out of the front. That panel over there, I put it on the side so I wouldn't knock it over and damage it. That was the panel that was right in the front here. Of course, I leave the light over here. Get the light again. See, so getting that panel off of there gives me access to the inside of here. This is underneath the build platform. The build platform's up there, but I can clean all this yuck out of there. Get all that residue of materials that get in there. Same down here. I can go through and clean this out a little bit while I have it open. I don't know if I probably don't need to take these material bays out of there to clean them up. But there's nothing there that's leaking that I can see. So we'll maybe leave this side for now, just maybe clean it from what I can reach from here, and then do a deep clean on it at a later date if it needs it. Oh, and I pulled that other little device out of there also. This fella. I don't know what it does exactly, but I think, see, there's electrical connections to it, and I believe it reads the chip on the cartridge. I think that's what it does. It's a chip reader of some sort, but how it works, I have no idea. I just know it needs to go back in there. I'm just hoping it's not a precision alignment sort of a thing. I noticed no markings or anything as far as where it needed to be. It was just kind of in the ballpark, so I marked it with a white wax pen where it was, so I can kind of get it close when I put it back in there. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.